Hello and welcome everyone to the summary of the end of round one of my solo playthrough of Conflict of Heroes Price of Honor Firefight 2 Cavalry Charge. If this first video you're watching, let me remind you that I'm using 3rd edition rules with this, so I'm using the Storms of Steel rulebook. I suppose it's the most up-to-date version. So this is the end of round one. As you can see, the Poles are ahead by 3 victory points. They've destroyed quite a few German units, as you can see over here. They also suffered a few casualties themselves. They have also advanced a couple of units across the potato field, trying to make it to these objectives. This mounted unit actually got pretty close. I guess you could call this a house rule, by the way. Officially, in the rules, a unit that is mounted is supposed to be on top of a transported vehicle, or in this case, the horses. I just find it more logical and simply easier to do it the other way around, so that when I come across a stack of units and I see that there's a horse or a vehicle on top, not a tank obviously, but an armored personnel carrier or something like that, that I know that if there's a unit underneath, oh, that one is being transported. And if it were the other way around, I could just, easily not have a look at whatever is beneath and forget about it. This simply makes more sense to me. So if you see the horse unit on top, it actually means that the unit beneath it is mounted. So this one got pretty close to capturing the objective, but then it got spent. This one was also going to go there, but then I just figured, this one will probably take it on the next turn. And this German unit got spent here, so it was caught in the open. So I thought, let's just press my luck and see if I can get to attack that one. But this one got spent as well. This one tried to make its way to this stone building here, so as to provide some cover. Cover to this unit obviously, but to cover the field of fire against the advancing Polish units. These units did a lot of damage, as I said. This German light machine gun, I guess you could call it the hero of the day. It was here initially, I believe, or it was here, and then it moved backwards into the woods, and it didn't actually get attacked, but then once the Polish units actually got spent, it moved over here and attacked from short range, mind you, not close combat, but short range. And it killed 1 or 2 units that were in there with a firepower of 4 plus 3 is 7, and it rolled well twice. The Polish units are still here because we have an objective here and a hit horse marker. Now, the Poles had already claimed this objective hex. The rules do say that, normally speaking, of course, control of a hex doesn't change, of a control marker doesn't change until you're the only unit in a hex. But since in this case the rules also say that horses cannot claim objectives on their own, I think it actually makes sense. Later on they still attacked this one as well, by the way, and scored a few hits there, which makes the German unit the hero of the day, and only then did it get fatigued. So as I was saying, that particular horse unit there, I reverted control back to the Germans there because, as I said, the rules are a bit contradictory. On the one hand, control doesn't change until you're the sole possessor of that hex. On the other hand, horses can claim it, and I know that claiming is not necessarily the same as retaining, but it seems to me like a lone horse unit is not going to keep control of an objective. Of course, one could argue that perhaps, like the Germans don't actually know that the horses are on their own and that the riders have actually been completely destroyed. Maybe there are a few still lurking around nearby, but I just played in this particular case that the Germans reclaimed the objective. On turn 2, we're going to see some more reinforcements, a wagon with a heavy machine gun for the Poles, and another light machine gun, and a squad for the Germans. So let's see what turn 2 is going to bring. For the time being, I'm finding this scenario to be very enjoyable. I wasn't sure if I was expecting that. It's just a single map. But the horse units are fun. They actually work, and that's very important as well. I mean, they're doing what you would expect them to do, or perhaps not expect them to do in a World War II setting. But as long as you attack infantry out in the open and you actually manage to catch them by surprise and on their flanks and everything, and they actually have to pivot before they can actually do anything against you or whatever. And of course, also if you attack these machine guns out in the open, well, even if you don't catch them out in the open, if you attack them in the same hex, then they suffer a -2 penalty rather than a +4 for being in the same hex. So they only have an attack value of 2 then, and they're not nearly as strong as they would be otherwise. Or as a regular squad would be in such a situation when it actually gets to attack. Because of course, if a horse unit moves in, have the swift action card that they have at the beginning of the scenario is an exception, of course. But otherwise, if they move into a certain hex, then the hex that they move into, that particular unit will always get to attack first, normally speaking. So the rules don't say anything that horses, they're just foot units, and so they can enter a stone building, apparently. Again, the rules also say that the hexes actually portray like 40 or 50 meters across of terrain. So I guess it's not even that far-fetched that horses can actually enter, which doesn't necessarily mean they run up the stairs or anything to the top floor. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that. But, maybe they wreak havoc among the buildings, and of course, within that particular hex, of course, you can just assume that some riders would definitely dismount and they would run up those same stairs and everything and confront and attack the defender. So as I said, the rules don't say anything that horses are not allowed to go in there. They're simply foot units. Obviously, they don't get a movement bonus, but apparently they are allowed to enter buildings and all. And as I just explained, I guess I can perfectly live with that. So that concludes turn 1. Thank you for watching, and see you at the end of turn 2.